Okay, I'm going to make a video of me unpacking because it's really boring, and I don't like to do it on my own because it bores me to tears. So I will be talking to the camera so I won't be so bored while I'm doing this. I might have to move the camera around a little bit. Yeah, whatever. Okay, and I'm going to be telling my usual silly, stupid stories while I unpack, because that's what I do in my stupid videos. Okay, story number one is going to be the story about meeting Chris Hemsworth, who's also Thor in the movies, the Avengers and Thor and all that. I was training at the gym in Venice Beach, Gold's gym there. This is where he used to work out. I don't know where he works out now, but now he's famous. But at the time, he wasn't super famous. He was marginally famous. All he had done was the new Star Trek movie. And he's over here. And in the Star Trek movie, he plays Captain Kirk's dad. So, in the new Star Trek movie. And so anyhow, I was at the gym, and he was doing chest. He was doing cable flies with his trainer. And I walked up because I thought they were done. And I said, "Hey, are you guys done?" And they kind of like froze for a minute and stared at me like, "Why are you talking to us?" And and then the trainer looks at me and says, "Yeah, we're done. And Chris looked at me for a second and smiled and then just walked away. And then I was like, it took me a minute to register. I like thought for a second. I was like, why does he look so familiar? And then I was like, oh my God, that's Captain Kirk's dad. So immediately I get out my phone, and immediately I'm like on Facebook going, oh my God, I just saw Captain Kirk's dad at the gym. Because I'm geeking out over the fact that it's Captain Kirk's dad. And I thought that was really cool. So anyhow, that was the first time I met him. There were no words exchanged. The second time I met him was again Venice Beach Golds, and I was wearing my Nosferatu shirt. It's a really geeky Nosferatu Vampire the Masquerade role playing game T-shirt, and yeah, I'm a geek. So I'm wearing my Nosferatu shirt. And I'm walking past Chris, and Chris is training. This time was this huge guy. He's like, bouncer. He's this massive, huge guy, just like a bodyguard or something. I don't know. So I walk past him, and the really tall guy says to me, he goes, "Oh, Nosferatu," like that. When I walk past, and I go, "Yeah, Nosferatu," and we started talking about Vampire the Masquerade, and apparently he played or something. I don't know. It was bizarre, and we started talking about it, and he's standing in front of me, the big tall guy, and Chris is standing right to my left. And I'm talking to the guy, and he goes, going back and forth about Vampire the Masquerade, role-playing games, and stuff like that. And then I go, and speaking of really geeky things, because Chris hasn't said anything, he's just standing there listening to our conversation between two nerds going back and forth about this really geeky thing. And I said, speaking of really geeky things, and I look at Chris and I said, aren't you playing Thor in the upcoming Thor movie? And because, I knew this because I read online everything about comic books, and I knew that he had been cast to play Thor. And he says to me, he goes, yes, I'm Thor. And he reaches out his hand and says, hi, I'm Chris. And it was just the coolest thing because he was totally down to earth, and he was really nice. And so what do? Is like, comic book fanboy, I geek out immediately. So I start saying, oh, okay, it's going to be more like classic Thor, it's going to be more like Ultimate Thor. And I started going back and forth about the differences between the two. And he actually knew what I was talking about, which meant that he had actually read the comic books, which I thought was really cool. And then he said, oh, it's going to be like a blend between the two. And I was like, oh, that's awesome. So I had my total geek out moment when I met Thor. And anyhow, but that was before he was famous. That was before the movie. It was like 6 months before the movie, and or longer, because it was just when they had just started filming it, I think. And so anyhow, I just thought it was really cool. I got to meet Thor, and he's really down to earth, really nice guy, totally grounded, really cool. I think I broke the rules because I know in like LA you're not supposed to talk to the stars when you see them out in normal life. But I don't care. I was like, I just pretended I was a tourist. I was like, I'm a tourist. I'm not from here. I'll talk to anybody. So that was fun. That was really cool. All right, so I'm sitting here talking. I'm not getting anything unpacked. But that was my story, and I made a video. Okay, good. Bye.